At Society, Phyllis is thrilled to be having breakfast with Daniel and Summer, who are just glad she's okay. Daniel needed her to come back to them, especially after Heather. Phyllis complains that Sharon put them through that. She adds that she shouldn't be walking around, she should be in prison. Moving on, Phyllis doesn't know how Michael, her best friend, could take Sharon's case. Daniel and Summer exchange a look. Phyllis promises not to get wound up, and they all focus on what they're grateful for. Christine comes in and says she's heading back on tour and wanted to say goodbye to Daniel. Phyllis asks if she's sure Danny still wants her there. There's a lot of young women around, maybe he's forgotten about you. Daniel thanks Christine for coming home to help him out. Phyllis touts her instincts. She was the only one who saw the truth all along. Chris will admit, for once, that she was right about something. Summer points out that pushing Sharon almost got her killed. Phyllis flashes to reading her phone and crashing. Daniel asks, "Are you okay?" Phyllis explains that she flashes back to the accident and the headlights coming right at her. Daniel says Elena warned that her memories may come back from that night. Phyllis definitely remembers that truck trying to run her off the road. Christine asks, "The truck? Do you remember what the vehicle looked like? Is this the first time you've seen it in your flashes?" Phyllis holds up her hands. "What's with all the questions, Christine?" Christine was under the impression she had no memories from that night. Phyllis scoffs, "Like a blackout? That's Sharon's game." Summer asks if she remembers seeing Sharon's silver SUV. Michael catches up with Nick at Newman. He asks if the toxicology report came back. Michael says no, but it could be later today. He gripes about him going to Chance, who is sure to show the results to the DA first. Nick says he convinced him to show him first. Michael says, "Yeah, well, that's not going to happen." Michael divulges that he told Chance not to tell Nick. How would it look when it came out? Nick says he's making him regret telling him about this. Michael assures that he convinced Chance that it was crucial to tell him, as Sharon's attorney, about the report. Nick is glad. Michael had to make sure it was done the right way so they can use anything that is found. Nick nods, "Oh good. I appreciate that." He's glad Michael's in Sharon's corner. Michael warns testing the pills is a long shot. Nick senses something isn't right. Michael shares that concern. Nick and Michael compare notes on feeling torn because of what Daniel and Phyllis are going through, but they both know something is off. Nick says they have to get Sharon out of this before it's too late. Adam arrives at Crimson Lights looking for Sharon. Esther gripes that she works at Cassidy First in the mornings. Adam asks how Sharon is doing. Esther isn't about to volunteer the information to him. Billy appears and agrees with Esther that Adam probably isn't on Sharon's need-to-know list. He asks when he's going to stop getting involved in other people's business. Adam sneers, "Well, I could ask you the same thing." Just then, Sally walks in. Sally intervenes as Billy accuses Adam of being jealous. Adam says what happened with Chelsea was a moment of weakness. What they did was revenge. Sally tells him to let it go. Adam thinks maybe his feelings were deeper than hers. Billy comes to Sally's defense. Adam warns Sally she'll never find happiness with Abbott. "You're so much better than that." Once alone, Billy warns Sally that Adam won't stop trying to get under her skin. Sally thinks this is all about him seeing them together after they took things to the next level. Billy sniffs that now he can see how it feels. Sally asks, "Please tell me you didn't sleep with me to exact some kind of revenge." Billy insists it was the furthest thing from his mind and apologizes if that's how it sounded. He keeps snarking about Adam, and Sally muses, "That bridge is burned for good." Billy urges her to keep her guard up and not let Adam make her doubt herself. She promises that will never happen. At Newman, Michael hopes Nick can talk some sense into Sharon. Nick says he bought them some time, but he's still worried. Michael frets that she wants to plead guilty. Nick has never seen her want to give up without a fight. Michael and Nick discuss their history and bond. Michael suspects this goes deeper. He feels compelled to stand by Sharon, no matter what she may have done. Nick says she's a part of him. He'll always be there for her. Michael admires that, but warns this may be the one thing he can't protect Sharon from. Adam appears and asks if there's been a development in Sharon's case. Nick tells Adam it's a private conversation. Adam just wants to know that Sharon's okay. Why is that so hard for him to answer? Nick says she's fine. Michael heads out, agreeing to let Nick know if anything comes up. Nick tells Adam he doesn't have time to worry about his hurt feelings. Adam asks his brother not to treat him like he's a threat to Sharon's case. He could be a support. They have history too, and he's just as concerned about her fate as he is. Nick tells him if he wants to help, he should stay out of it. Whenever he got involved in her life, it ended badly. Adam tells Nick that's an exaggeration. But what isn't is how much he cares about Sharon, who feels the same way about him. Nick says no one is questioning that. Adam asks, then, why he's acting like it's a crime for him to be concerned. It's like only he can protect her. Nick insists this isn't about the past, it's about what Sharon needs right now. She has plenty of support and doesn't need Adam. Adam argues that in times of crisis, you can never have too many people looking out for you. He's convinced this is about the past. Why do you always have to be the hero in Sharon's life? Nick asks. And why do you always have to be the curse? At Society, Phyllis isn't sure what happened. She gets flashes right before the accident. Bright lights, and it was pitch black out there. The truck could have been white or silver. Christine asks if she can say for sure it was Sharon's. Phyllis asks who else would have had reason to get her out there. She thought she was going to expose her big secret. Chris says it's possible this was just an accident and had nothing to do with Sharon. Phyllis asks, "Are you kidding me? Are you on Sharon's side here?" Of course it was Sharon. She sent her texts and lured her to her house so she could run her off the road. Chris insists there are other possible scenarios. Phyllis disagrees. Nick saw Sharon at the accident site. Deciding she has to get out of there, Phyllis gets up. So much for a nice breakfast with my kids. At Crimson Lights, Sally assures Billy that she'll never let Adam get in her head the way he used to. But she does feel a pang of sadness when she sees him. For what was or could have been. Billy understands. He feels the same way when he sees Chelsea, and Connor for that matter. They agree that the kid is remarkable. Billy says he's the one bright spot to come out of all of this. Sally thinks he could come up with another. She assures him he will nail getting his life back on track. She has a focus. Billy says, "See, bright spot." Sally has one question. Do all relationships have to come to such a messy end? Billy says in his experience, yes. Sally admits her numbers yield similar results. We really are quite the pair, aren't we? He nods. We are. They smile at each other. Sally and Billy look at Devon and Abby's wedding pictures and admire the new ranch. Billy says it is really that over the top. He wasn't there long enough to appreciate it, however. Getting canned by his mother put a damper on the evening. But Abby's wedding dress was the most beautiful gown ever designed in such a short amount of time. Sally admits it was rough creating that when she was so sad. Billy thinks that's what makes her a creative genius. Phyllis walks in as they're smiling at each other and shakes her head. At Society, Christine tells Daniel and Summer she has to get going to see Danny in Toronto. Daniel thanks her again. She's sorry she caused their mom to walk out on breakfast. Summer and Daniel reassure her. Chris urges them to keep tabs on her. She's not sure if she's subconsciously repressing a memory, but she seems rattled about something. There are details that don't add up. Sharon blacked out and the tire marks don't match Sharon's car, but a truck. It makes her curious about what really happened. Summer will have to go with her mom on this one, Sharon confessed. Chris argues they can't overlook the possibility that someone else is responsible for what happened to Phyllis. She wants Phyllis to get to the truth of what happened that night. Daniel argues that they have undeniable proof and a confession. Christine says, for the murder, yes, but not for the crash. Daniel thanks her again for everything. Chris says she and Danny will be back on the holidays and leaves. Summer asks her brother if Christine's theory that Sharon may not have run their mother off the road is upsetting him. Daniel says he doesn't really care. He's not going to waste another minute talking about Sharon. She killed Heather. She took away his little girl's mother. She's going to pay for what she did. It's like Christine said, justice is justice. At Newman, Nick tells Adam he doesn't want history to repeat itself. He and Sharon aren't good for each other. His concern for her is a pattern. When his life implodes, he runs to Sharon and things get messy. Adam says this isn't about Sally and him, it's about Sharon. He's not looking for comfort from Sharon right now, he wants to comfort her. Nick says he may think that, but he's not so sure. He urges him to focus on Connor and Newman Media and not risk derailing everything, for him and for Sharon. At Crimson Lights, Phyllis approaches Billy and Sally. Oh, this is sweet, this is sweet. Not to mention inevitable. Sally's glad to see her out of the hospital. Phyllis is ready to take on the world, and other things. Sally won't ask what that means and takes off after Phyllis makes a point of saying she works for her daughter. Phyllis sits down with Billy and says, "Please tell me you are not getting involved with that woman." Billy doesn't think that's Phyllis' business. Phyllis says she's deeply hurt. He's her friend and future business partner. She asks if the plan to take Victor down is still happening and wants to see him get what he wants. "I want to have your back and stop you from going down the wrong path." Sally Spectra is the wrong path. Her track record with men is abysmal. Billy says that's rich coming from her. Phyllis warns he'll make a bigger enemy of Adam. Billy doesn't care what Adam thinks. Phyllis warns if they're going to do this with Victor, they can't risk inciting the wrath that is Adam Newman. Let's not make this harder on us than it already is. At Newman, Adam can't understand how wanting to help Sharon could possibly hurt her. Nick is talking about him wanting to be involved in this case. You two are toxic for each other. Nick can't turn a blind eye to that. Adam keeps arguing. Nick insists he's trying to protect him too. "I'm asking you, no, I'm telling you, stay away from her."